Today's show is brought to you by State Farm agent Brian McDevitt. Here's the deal. When you combine State Farm home and auto insurance, you save an average of $889. State Farm agent Brian McDevitt is ready to help you combine home and auto and save in Chicago and the surrounding suburbs. Call Brian today at 630-796-2662. That's 630-796-2662. Or visit his website, bryanismyagent.com. That's RyanIsMyAgent.com, and make sure to mention Sports Talk Chicago. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I want to start today with this. Which would you rather have? A 2005 Lamborghini or a 2020 Ford Fusion? I know you want that Lamborghini. I know you want the name. You want the recognition. You want the expensive car, but it's old. The Fusion has less miles, better upkeep. It's newer. The Lamborghini's been through a lot. It was, at one point, the top car. Not anymore. Time has exposed its wounds. It's made it worse. So if I were you, I'd pick the Fusion. Even though the Lamborghini has a name value attached to it. See, the Bears are in a similar position. Do they pursue J.J. Watt? J.J. Watt is the 2005 Lamborghini. At one point, he was great. Best defender in the NFL by far. Great player. All-Pro, 20 sacks in a season, future Hall of Famer. I'll give him all that. But should the Bears get him now? Right now? After he was just released? Think about it. Watt is not the same player he was before. The Lamborghini isn't the same car it was before. Watt's missed 32 games over the past 5 years. This past season, one of his worst of all time, only 5 sacks in all 16 games. He had 4 in 8 games in 2019. So what do you want to do? Do you want the beat-up Lamborghini, or do you want the Ford Fusion? The Ford Fusion for the Bears represents a lot of different things. Their needs, wide receiver, O-line help, quarterback. That's the Fusion. Do the Bears need another defender? No. They're great as it is defensively. We all know what they need. Not this. They have no money. Even if Watt took a pay cut, you're going to tell me it's worth it to spend money on him. For a 5-sack 2020. For years of injuries. For missing 32 games over the past 5 years. Would you pay him anything? No, you wouldn't. You shouldn't. But I have a sick feeling the Bears may. The Bears have so many other issues at hand. Allen Robinson, O-line, drafting, quarterback. Not defensive help. They don't need J.J. Watt. My goodness. Saw it all over this weekend. Oh my goodness. Watt is out. Free agent. Bring him in. No. What purpose would he serve? Seriously, what would he do differently here? If anything, his numbers would be worse. He'd have to compete for sacks with Mack and Hicks. Roquan? How do you think he'd do here? And last year, fully healthy, quote unquote, 5 sacks in 16 games. It's obvious to me, it should be obvious to you, his career's pretty much over. So what? The Bears are going to sign him for nostalgia's sake? No. If the Bears are intent on winning next year, if they say they're going all in, this would be the opposite of all in. This signing would be the opposite. Total opposite, wrong direction. We all know what the Bears need. J.J. Watt doesn't fit that list. And this doesn't mean he's a bad player. No, it just means at the moment, the Bears don't need him. No need for him. Past his prime, old, injury prone, can't produce now in a full season. I wouldn't pay a penny for those expectations. I wouldn't pay a penny for those truths, because that's what they are. They're truths. The Bears have so many other issues they have to focus on. And we know that. Quarterback being a big one. But we're going to sit here and play the hypothetical game for J.J. Watt. Okay. He is not the same player as he once was. Watt said, too, by the way, in his video, that he wants to win a Super Bowl. Don't come here. For a Super Bowl? No. This is not a fit. Watt said, I'll take a reduced salary for a Super Bowl. Don't come here. The Bears don't even have a quarterback yet. That's what I don't get. See, a lot of people saying they want this move to happen. Are we forgetting about the quarterback? I'm asking. Are we forgetting about the fact that right now, Nick Foles is the only option on the roster? Oh, and Tyler Bray, I guess. That should be the number one focus right now. Quarterback. Get that squared away. Do what you need to do to acquire Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr, draft, sign a free agent. Focus on that first before you go after another defensive player, and better yet, a defensive player who's washed up. That's what I don't understand. You know, I see too many people being fans and not being objective. This is fandom. Oh my gosh, I love J.J. Watt. That's fandom. Reality is, he wouldn't work here. He doesn't want to come here. And the Bears would be stupid to pay him even a penny. Keep the fandom in check, please. The Bears have so many other issues they need to address. They need help, mainly offensively. So why go out and sign a defensive player? Better yet, J.J. Watt. See what I mean? The post that went viral this weekend with Portillo's, who cares? That didn't faze me. I don't want him here. And you shouldn't either. This is not a knock on Watt. It's not a knock saying he's a horrible player. The truth is, the Bears are not in a position right now to pay more money for defense. They need offensive help. And I wouldn't pay money to a guy who's clearly on a decline. Let's be honest. Come on. I know he's a Hall of Famer. Know he's a great player. He's on the decline. Gets hurt all the time. This past year, when healthy, produced very little. Let him reunite with his brother in Pittsburgh or go somewhere else. Not here. The Bears don't need him. Let's stop being fans. Let's stop hoping for the best when it comes to this. Let's be realists. Be a realist with me. The reality is the Bears' offense is in shambles. And if Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy claim we're going all in, we have to win next year, a signing like this wouldn't even scratch the surface. It'd get nothing done. In fact, I would argue it put the Bears behind. This would set them back if they signed J.J. Watt. Wouldn't move them forward. Wouldn't move them closer to a playoff appearance. They still need a quarterback. They need wide receivers. They could tag Allen Robinson, but if they don't, their number one receiver is Darnell Mooney. Give me a break. We heard about David Montgomery possibly going somewhere. Now he said he isn't. The few weapons that the Bears offense has are all essentially on the chopping block, as it is. And they still haven't addressed the true needs. So what would you do? Would you shell out money for a 2005 Lamborghini that could break down at any second, for all we know? Or would you put money in to a brand new Ford Fusion? I know it might be cool to drive around in a Lamborghini, no matter what year it is, but trust me, when that thing breaks down, it's worthless. Worthless. It means nothing. J.J. Watt could come to the Bears on a 1-year, 2-year deal. What happens when he gets hurt again? At his age? What happens if he plays and doesn't produce, like he did this past year? What are we going to say then? Versus sensibly spending money on things you need. You need a car, right? You need a car. Which is it going to be? A really nice, high-end one that could break down, or a brand new one that's very reliable? To me, the answer is simple. I don't know about you, but to me, it's pretty simple. Pretty clear-cut. The Bears have needs. They haven't addressed them. They have little money with the cap space. Are you going to allot those resources to a washed-up defensive player? No. Ryan Pace and the Bears front office may have made some questionable decisions over the years, but I'll tell you this much, they're not that stupid. They know what they need. They don't need another defensive player who's old, who gets hurt, who's on his last legs. They need a quarterback. They need receivers. They need O-line help, secondary help. So there you go. Do yourselves a favor. Don't think like a fan. I know it's hard, but don't do it. Because if you do, you're going to subject yourself to all of these nonsensical things. Like the Portillo's thing, or Watt posting a picture in Chicago with his wife. Get over it. It's not happening. It's not happening. And if it did, I'd be pretty disappointed. This is not what the Bears need. They don't need this. If they want to win, they don't need this. If they're going to rebuild in a year, they really don't need this. They are not in a position whatsoever to sign him. No benefit to the Bears if they do it. None. He'll barely play, probably get hurt, and it'll be a waste of money. The Bears barely have cap room as it is. Don't spend it on something you don't need. That's life advice. Don't spend your money on something you don't need if you're on a budget. The Bears are on a budget. They have a lot of needs. Why allocate your resources to get J.J. Watt? Let's be real here. Let's be honest with ourselves and with the team's situation. They're not in a position to need J.J. Watt. They may want him, but they don't need him. And if they want to win next year, J.J. Watt will do nothing to help that cause. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with David Sampson comes up next, so stay tuned. Hey, do you want to make some money this weekend? What if I told you I could offer you $250 free to bet on any game you want? Here's what you have to do. Go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash. sportstalkchicago.com/cash. You must be 21 plus. You must be an Illinois resident. You can bet $250 free on any game you want for this upcoming weekend. Basketball, college basketball, and the NHL. Believe it or not, baseball is coming around the corner too. This is, without question, the best time to put down some money and win a whole lot more back. Go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash. sportstalkchicago.com/cash. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.